Harvey Weinstein raped me after the BAFTAs. Actress tearfully tells how sex abuser producer burst into her London hotel room and forced himself on her after attending the awards with his wife. A model and actress who starred in such films as Electra and Big Mama's House 2 has come forward to accuse Harvey Weinstein of rape. Natassia Malthe claims Harvey Weinstein burst into her room at the Sunset Hotel in London after the 2008 BAFTA Awards and began masturbating in front of her while sitting on the bed. Then, after telling her a number of A-list actresses he claimed to have bedded, Weinstein allegedly forced himself on Malthe and began having sex with her despite her pleas for him to stop. He did not wear a condom, she claims. Malthe, 43, says Weinstein pulled himself out and then began to masturbate before ejaculating and leaving the room. Soon after he called again and asked her to audition for the upcoming film 9-something. She agreed to due to her desire to land one of the much coveted parts in the project and the fact she would be auditioning for Rob Marshall. Malthe said that she believed she had landed a minor part after that audition and began seeing a voice and dance coach. Weinstein called soon after, she claimed, and asked her to meet with him, assuring her an assistant would be present. When she arrived, the woman he claimed was an assistant began performing oral sex on Weinstein, she says, while he asked Malthe to join them in a threesome. I was very reluctant to come forward today. It scares me in some ways, said Malthe. However, my closest friends encouraged me to do so. I am also doing it for my 3-year little boy, so he understands how to respect and treat women, and for countless little girls that should never experience what I went through, and for all the women that came before me and after me trying to succeed in Hollywood. She then said that she hopes her words will be able to change the way that women are treated in the industry. On the 10th of February 2008 I was in London for the BAFTA Awards. I was the spokesperson for LG. I was in London working, said Malthe. After the award ceremonies I attended the BAFTA after party with my publicist, who suggested that I take a picture with Harvey as I did with many celebrities that night. While I was interacting with Harvey he asked me where I was staying in London and I was put on the spot and I mentioned that I was staying at the Sunset Hotel in London. That was the end of that encounter, and she soon left the party, which Weinstein was attending with his wife of 2 months, Georgina and Chapman. She was photographed at this time nursing a bump to her head before getting into a taxi. After I finished working that evening I went back to my hotel, undressed, put on the clothes that I normally sleep in, put on eye patches and went to sleep, said Malthe. I was startled and awakened by repeated pounding on my door in the middle of the night accompanied with Harvey Weinstein yelling, "Open the door, Natassia Malthe, it's Harvey Weinstein." I was mortified and humiliated. There were many industry people staying at the hotel. I was worried that everyone would wake up and think that I was sleeping with him. She then said, I opened the door. His clothes were messy and his face did not look normal. I wondered if he was on drugs. Weinstein soon barged into her room and made his way to the bed, she claimed. Then I remember he took his pants off and sat on my bed. I was feeling panic and wondering what I should do. He was a very large man and I weighed 98 pounds, said Malthe. He began speaking about various A-list actresses who he claimed had slept with him. He told me that these actresses had gotten to where they were because of him and because they had sex with him. Soon after, he was on top of her and she was fighting to get him off, Malthe said. It was not consensual. He did not use a condom. However, he did not ejaculate inside of me, said Malthe. After having sexual intercourse he masturbated and ejaculated. I was completely grossed out. I believe that I disassociated during the time that he was having sex with me. Malthe added, I laid still and closed my eyes and just wanted it to end. I was like a dead person. Afterwards I lay there in complete disgust. The next day he sent her the script for 9. After I returned to Los Angeles from my tour, Mr. Weinstein contacted me and told me that he wanted to set up a meeting with Rob Marshall, the director of 9, for a part, said Malthe. I was very uncomfortable because of what Harvey had done, but I decided to do a dance audition. The audition went well enough according to Malthe, and she started taking dance and voice lessons as recommended by Marshall. I began training and then one day Harvey asked me to meet him at the Peninsula to talk about the film. I told him explicitly that I would go there but there would be no hanky-panky and he told me not to worry about it. I was also told that his assistant would be present and that made me feel more comfortable, said Malthe. When I arrived at Harvey's suite, his assistant opened the door and walked me in. There was another girl in the suite that I did not know. Harvey came into the room in a robe and the girl took off her clothes and began giving Harvey a blowjob. Harvey made it clear that he wanted me to engage in a threesome with him and this other girl. I refused. He and the girl were both laughing at me. That moment made her entire career choice seem like a bad idea, she said, and her decision to trust Weinstein an even worse one. Afterwards, I called Harvey and yelled at him for putting me through that. I told him that the opportunity of having a part in his upcoming movie was not worth what he wanted me to do in exchange, said Malthe. He became angry and said that he had given me an amazing opportunity and that I was an ungrateful C******. Soon after she dropped out of consideration for 9 and left the US and her acting career. Malthe closed out her remarks by stating that this was not her first time dealing with inappropriate behavior. This situation with Harvey was not isolated. I had experienced sexual harassment from other powerful men in Hollywood, but my experiences with Harvey were the worst, she explained. Hollywood men should not be allowed to force women to gratify them sexually in order to get ahead. Malthe is now the 9th woman to accuse Weinstein of rape. The previous cases involved an unnamed Italian model who claims she was raped in 2013 by Weinstein, actresses Rose McGowan, Asia Argento and Lizette Anthony, then college student Lucia Evans and the aforementioned unnamed woman. The 2013 rape is currently being investigated by police in Los Angeles, it was revealed last week. Weinstein is also being investigated in the state of New York, where 2 criminal probes have been launched following allegations of sexual assault that date back over 10 years. A law enforcement source told DailyMail.com that one of these complaints was filed by Lucia Evans, who told the New Yorker that Weinstein forced her to perform oral sex on him in 2004 at his office. The identity of the other individual is not known at this time. There is no statute of limitations on rape, criminal sexual act or aggravated sexual abuse in the first degree in the state of New York. The state legislature signed a bill eliminating a statute of limitations for first-degree sexual offenses back in 2006, having previously had a 5-year statute for all rape and sexual assault cases. Weinstein's legal problems are not just stateside either, with Scotland Yard currently investigating 5 allegations of sexual assault which have been made by 3 women across the Atlantic. The earliest of these alleged assaults dates back to the 80s. Mimi Haley and Dominique Hewitt are the other 2 women accusing Weinstein of rape, with those women both making their claims on Tuesday. Haley has not yet gone to police, and since there is no statute would be able to pursue charges with enough evidence. Hewitt spoke publicly about her alleged assault on Megyn Kelly today and how she came to know Weinstein. I had met him in New York previously and we had been in touch about an audition for a Quentin Tarantino film, she explained to Megyn. Hugh then met with him again when she found herself in Los Angeles. I didn't know anything about the peninsula, if he was staying there. I thought we were meeting at the bar, which we did, said Hugh, and he told me, okay, we are going to my room now after a few minutes of conversation about movie roles. It was when she arrived at the room that she began to realize he appeared to live in the hotel. And he offers me champagne. It was very similar to Haley's story, that he just is very dominant, persuasive, does not back down if you say no. And kind of just forced me into doing something I didn't want to do. Megyn responded to that by saying, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. But some people hear forced oral sex and they think, how did he hold you down? Help us understand that. Hugh responded by explaining, I feel like it was a coercive thing. He wouldn't let it up that it was just going to happen, no matter how hard I refused. She went on to say that when it was over, Weinstein masturbated in front of her and she then left the room. Haley shared her story one day prior during a press conference with All Red. The young woman said she tried to shoot down Weinstein's repeated sexual advances by telling him she was menstruating, but he eventually overpowered her and shoved her onto a bed in his child's bedroom. He wouldn't take no for an answer and backed me into a room which was not lit, but looked like a kid's bedroom with kids' drawings on the walls, said Haley. He held me down on the bed. I tried to get him off me and kept asking him to stop, but it was impossible. He was extremely persistent and physically overpowering. At that point Weinstein ripped out her tampon, said Haley, who had begun to openly weep. He then orally forced himself on me while I was on my period. I was mortified. I was in disbelief, said Haley, accompanied by her attorney Gloria Allred. I would not have wanted anyone to do that to me, even if that person had been my romantic partner. She then added, I remember Harvey afterwards rolling over onto his back and saying, don't you feel we're so much closer to each other now? I replied no. Weinstein was divorced from his first wife and in a relationship with Georgina Chapman at the time. Hugh also gave a more detailed account of her alleged assault in her court filing, which began she went with Weinstein to his room at the Peninsula. While in Weinstein's room, the two continued their conversation regarding plaintiff's career. At some point, Weinstein excused himself to use the restroom. After several minutes, Weinstein returned from the restroom wearing only a bathrobe, reads the legal compliant. Upon returning, Weinstein asked plaintiff to perform a massage on him. Plaintiff said no and that she did not feel comfortable by his request. However, Weinstein persisted and would not take no for an answer. Weinstein laid on the bed and demanded that plaintiff perform a massage on him. Plaintiff ultimately complied with his demands and performed the massage. Then came the alleged rape. Subsequently, Weinstein requested to perform oral sex on plaintiff. Plaintiff was shocked and alarmed by the request and initially refused. Again, Weinstein displayed persistence and would not take no for an answer, reads the court filing, which was submitted in Los Angeles Superior Court. Weinstein initiated and plaintiff froze as Weinstein removed her clothing and performed oral sex on her. Weinstein performed oral sex on plaintiff for several minutes. After performing oral sex on plaintiff, Weinstein masturbated in front of plaintiff until he reached orgasm. The movie mogul was married at the time, and his wife Georgina had just given birth to their first child, daughter India, 2 months prior. Weinstein is said to be in rehab, but there has still been nothing to prove this claim, and now over 60 women have come forward with allegations of sexual harassment and assault. Any allegations of non-consensual sex are unequivocally denied by Mr. Weinstein. Mr. Weinstein has further confirmed that there were never any acts of retaliation against any women for refusing his advances, said a spokesperson for Weinstein. Mr. Weinstein obviously can't speak to anonymous allegations, but with respect to any women who have made allegations on the record, Mr. Weinstein believes that all of these relationships were consensual. Mr. Weinstein has begun counseling, has listened to the community and is pursuing a better path. Mr. Weinstein is hoping that, if he makes enough progress, he will be given a second chance.